Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary, my friends. Wow, I'm still on Mastermind High. Just got home yesterday from our amazing mastermind in Orlando. You probably saw some of the pictures, videos floating around there online. And it was everything and more that it seemed like. I really, really hope that if you're listening to this, you have a chance to be able to get to one in the future because they are truly game changers. With that being said, I know it's crazy. It's crazy. Yet another amazing guest on the show this morning, my dear friends. She's got a lot of experience, a lot to say. I can't wait to talk to her in just a moment. But remember, my friends, every single guest on this show is somebody who has gone through our courses, our curriculum, has implemented the strategies, and is having some success, some more than others. Of course, we're all at different points in our journey. And we've reached out to them and asked them to come on the show. And this is the first time in most cases that I've talked to any of them. And so you are hearing the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help us God. So help us all. Any one of these guests could come on and just, annihilate me. I mean, they could just come on and just say, Dave, you are just a gremlin, a goblin, just a troll under the bridge, you dirty dog. We haven't had that happen yet, but if it did, I'd be open to hearing those thoughts, and I'd probably let them finish those thoughts, and then I'd decide what to do from there. But anyways, my friends, this morning we have an amazing guest. Her name is Corin, and she has got some experience, but also a lot to say about Legendary and what she's doing now, why she wished she would have found it sooner, and all the things about imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs, and much more. So with that being said, Corin, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Also, I'm not going to call you a gremlin or a troll.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, even if you did, I would be able to just receive that, and then just figure out what to do with it next. Just kind of let it just bounce off me. Or maybe I dodge it like Neo in the Matrix. Who knows? But either way, I've had plenty of people call me those things out here on the internet. Maybe not trolls, maybe not goblins, but a host of other names. But as they say, if you don't have haters, you ain't doing enough. And I made a intention, a commitment a couple of years ago to get more haters, and I think I'm succeeding in that respect. So I think you are as well, though. And today we're going to be talking about you and your journey. And so tell us how in the heck you found us. What were you looking for? Do you feel like you found what you were looking for? And just a bit about how you got here.
Yeah, so kind of start backwards. I wasn't really looking for anything at the time. I mean, I was, but I wasn't. I was in this weird like limbo phase. Um, I had come from building a very successful online business, but it was more in like the coaching space. It was more in, I'm still a solopreneur now, but very solopreneur environment. And I had come from that background, and it came to a point where I was just extremely burnt out. I was always on calls. Like I'm sure having built what you've built in Legendary, it takes a village. So when you're doing it all yourself, like I loved the work I was doing. I was very passionate about it. Um, Training and certifying people in mindset things. But I just got really burnt out and ended up causing a lot of reoccurring medical issues and health issues that had come back up and hadn't really resurfaced for a long time. So I really had to take a step back and like put that at the forefront, right? Because you don't ever think about those things until it happens. So I had to really like take a step back. I ended up going back into the 9 to 5 world. And during that time, there's still that spark in me. There's still that entrepreneurial spirit that's in me, ever since 2020 and all the things that happened in the world. I always have this thought in the back of my mind of like, okay, multiple sources of income. That's just a smart thing to do. And so I was just kind of doing my thing. It's been a really wild year where my husband and I got married back in January. We moved across the country a month ago. It's just been like one thing after the other, right? Like we did that. I got a new job. I started a new position, moved across the country, found Legendary, did Legendary. But when I found Legendary, I was just in this space of like, okay, I've taken about a year off. I've put my health first. I've gotten my health back to where it needs to be. I'm thriving in my current role at my job, like all these things. So I was like, I'm in a really great place to do this at this time. And I was like, just kind of looking, I guess you could say, for something different to do. And I knew I needed, right? Like I came from having been burned out. I came from knowing what I didn't want anymore or what I didn't stand for when it came to building a side hustle or an online business. And I knew there was different ways to go about it and different ways to do it where it could be sustainable or you could actually do it in your spare time. And so that's kind of what I was looking for, if I was looking for anything at all. I don't think it was really like a conscious thought. It was just like, oh, heck, here it is. So when I finally came across it, I had actually stumbled upon a different side hustle first and maybe gave that a go for a hot minute and just realized it wasn't aligned with me. It was going to be almost the exact same thing as what I was doing before. Just very, I don't even want to say MLM vibes, but MLM vibes. Where it would just burn you out. You're really constantly exhausted, running all over the place, trying to keep up with all the things. And so when I came across Legendary, I, of course, had that hesitation where it was like that moment of like, is this too good to be true? Right? You have the $7 course. Like, okay, is this a scam? Right? And so I probably slept on it for a couple days. And I just remember like thinking to myself, like, okay, if it's too good to be true, if it is a scam and I spend $7 to get started and figure it out from there, okay, I spent $7. Like, boo-hoo, I spent what I would have spent at Starbucks and I do that anyway. So it was like I have one less trip to Starbucks this week or one less trip to wherever I was going to go and spend $7. So I did it. And like I had this mindset though when I knew I was taking a $7 course of like I already knew that I wanted to do it. Like deep down, I knew that the other side hustles weren't for me. I knew that the stuff I had done before wasn't sustainable, or at least the way I was doing it. And so when I came across it and I did it, I just had this like energy, like the moment I got on the call with the business advisor of like, I'm doing this. Like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go all in. I'm just going to figure it out, take messy action. Because the $7, like the 15-day challenge blew my mind in terms of, wow, this actually can be sustainable. You can actually set up your systems where everything is running for you in the background. Yeah. And like, I already knew that deep down. Like I already knew that was the case, but there was that moment of like hesitation. So that's how I came across it. That's how I got to where I am now. And in terms of like it being everything I was looking for, 100%. It was probably everything I was looking for that I didn't know I needed. So I took the 15-day challenge and then went all in with the blueprints. So that's kind of where I came from and how I got there.
Yeah. Well, that's great, and I'm I love that you also in your questionnaire that we sent you, you talked about not leaving your job too soon. You've either done that or suggested that in the past. I wonder if you could say a little bit more about that and what your experience and thoughts are on this kind of rush that so many people have to want to quit their 9 to 5, which is totally fine. And that's a fantastic goal to have. And, that can be the right choice for some people. Some work environments are toxic, can be bad for our mental health, all the things. What is your experience and opinions on that, and why somebody may or may not want to rush to quitting their job right away?
Yeah. So I've definitely worked in toxic work environments in the past. And I will say I'm definitely fortunate at this time where I work in a very good environment. I have a really amazing boss. And that hasn't always been the case. So like I get it when sometimes you're in those environments and it just seems like everything is like weighing down on you and it's the last thing you want to be doing. So I get that, but I would also encourage you to think about like the day and age that we're in right now. why would you not take the opportunity to invest in a skill that's going to help grow your skill set while at the same time you're still having that steady paycheck, right? You know, the wonderful drug, if I can say, that everybody's addicted to in America. But why would you not still have that if you can, while building up this side business and then creating multiple streams of income for yourself? And then from there, you start with one, you grow it to two, you grow it to three, right? So having come from a position where in the past I have left my 9 to 5, I don't necessarily want to say I left too soon or that I regret it. Like, it was what I needed at the time, but it was also when the world was hitting the fan. So at that time, it just seemed like the only logical thing to do. And I really didn't have a business where I could be, or I should say business / side hustle. I didn't have the opportunity to really only spend 1 to 3 hours per day on it. It was, I needed to be in it if it was going to work. And I needed to be 100% dedicated and focused solely on that all the time, or it wouldn't work. And so that's what I did. But with this, it's different, where I would say having that little bit of mindset shift or perspective of like, I can do both, and why can't I do both? Like, even just asking yourself those questions is so pivotal and can help you so much more in the long run, because you're building up the side hustle into maybe a full-time business if you want to take it full-time. You're growing from one, you're getting mastered in one, right? Like, say you do want to do affiliate marketing, you get mastered in one, you grow it to 2 streams, 3 streams. And so when you think about the world we're living in today, like, it's just a smart, economical thing to do for yourself.
It's me. It's me. Sorry, I like to talk to myself here on mute. I appreciate your experience, and we all have to really. I was just talking about this, kicking off the Decade in a Day workshop, that we all have to really choose our own path and gain our own experience with things, and not particularly look for somebody else to tell us exactly what to do. That really is what we've been doing our whole lives in jobs. Most jobs, there are some really cool jobs. And say, for example, like right here in Legendary, we sort of train and expect all of our team members to be intrapreneurs, which means that they're sort of entrepreneurial, working inside of a company. But most jobs kind of tell you what to do, and how to think, and exactly what the outcome should be. And entrepreneurship is the exact opposite. So really being willing to test and try something on your own. If you are going to quit your job, go into it eyes wide open. Don't just run into it. Don't just go in and be so excited to say, I quit to your boss, and give him what he really deserves. Because it can backfire on us, and we can sort of be sitting there a month or two later wishing just that we had taken things a little bit slower. And there is no rush. We've spent this many years or even decades doing what we're doing. And so there's no real rush into this. There's a lot of people who we see in our Facebook groups that are like, I've been doing this for 2 weeks and I'm not seeing traction yet. I'm only getting a couple hundred views on my videos. And it's like, well, first of all, you're looking at a completely full cup saying that it's a quarter empty. And that's a horrible way, in a very disempowering way to view things. But also, because 100 or 200 people listening to your videos is a damn miracle. Imagine, that really is a blessing. Even if you had one person listening to your videos, go back and listen to early Gary V videos where he was talking about, if one person was watching my video, and there was a point where one person was watching my YouTube videos, I'm pouring everything that I have into that one person. And it's a great practice field, right? It's a great place for me to practice when I have a small audience, because not that many people are listening to me. But the other thing is my friends, you're so early, right? You're so early. You're just a couple of weeks or even a couple of months into it. Having the experience that you have in the various ventures online, etc., in the past, even earning 6 figures online, what has it been like for you to be new at something here again? How have you needed to humble yourself? Let's talk about mindset for a little bit. How have you needed to humble yourself in order to not think that you were above investing in yourself, not thinking that you were above needing to go through training and just really learn and really immerse yourself in our community here so you could soak up all the knowledge? Talk to us a little bit about what it's been like for you to be new and embrace that.
Yeah. So, I mean, a couple things you said there, just to hit on and piggyback off on, is, when you are new and you feel like it's a sprint because you've seen other people have success right out of the gate or whatever it is, just know that like they're encouraging you to know that it's possible and to like stay consistent with it. It's not necessarily like, hey, I'm going to guarantee you these results, because I tell you, if anybody does that, run the other way. Just run. So knowing that, and knowing like it does take a minute, right? Like I started at zero, or I should say I restarted at zero, and I've restarted at zero multiple times. So to your point, like having businesses in the past, running them to multiple six figures, having that success, when you restart anything or when you start something new, there's always this moment of like, whether it's panic, anxiety, fear, one of those types of emotions can pop up, and then like your limiting beliefs come in of like, who the heck am I to be doing this? Nobody cares, right? Like when there's 200 people watching it, oh my God, I only have 200 views. Nobody cares about this. When really like, it's just about almost turning on the switch to say like, holy heck, there are 200 people that showed up to view my video. Somebody cares. Even if that's just one person. So like when I was starting over, I had to, and I've said this before on my Instagram, my new one, that I had to learn the hard way what it was that I didn't want, or didn't even know that I didn't want, when it came to a side hustle or an online business, and having one that was successful, sustainable, and I could thrive in. I don't want to say easily, but like more easily than others. And when I put everything on the back burner to put my health first, I had to learn the hard way, like very hard way, how to put things on automation, how to put things so that they could be passive and they could be running for me while I'm sleeping, while I'm working my full-time job. So when I came in to this and started over and going through the $7 course, and I always say to people, like, it's mind blowing. Like even the $7 course is almost worth the cost of the blueprints, right? Because having invested in myself before and knowing what else is out there, going through those 15 days, going through the templates and the fishing formula and the things that you guys set up in there to walk people through. If I would have had that a couple years ago, like my mind was just blown, right? And then coming into the blueprints and knowing like, okay, now there's literally all this education around online businesses, digital products, digital marketing, coaching, affiliate marketing. And you guys give us the templates and, for lack of a better phrase, the blueprints, right? To set ourselves up with that. And so I've said this before, and I'll say it probably until I'm blue in the face. It's like the creme de la crop of what's out there. And that's having come from somebody who's tried a bunch of different side hustles, invested in myself over and over again, which is a very scary feeling no matter what level you're at, right?
Sure.
And so there was just different multifaceted layers and levels that came with it when I restarted this. When it was like, okay, I'm doing it again. Like, here we are. And so, of course, there's that imposter syndrome that comes up of like, well, you did this thing before. And then, of course, your mind tries to tell you that you failed, or that you're going to fail, or that you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, or that it's too good to be true, or that it's a scam, right? Or that like, oh, it's nice for her that she had these results, but like, I won't do that. We really have to, one, like there's different people, like either run in the face of those fears and just do it anyway, or take a moment to like flip the switch to be like, actually, you know what, let me add up all of my successes, whether it's tangible or non-tangible, like, right, money, results, awards, whatever, accolades, or then internal of like, hey, I've felt this feeling of success before, or I've felt that I'm good enough before, or I've felt that I'm worthy enough before, to then flip that switch if you need to, and then go do the thing.
Mm.
And that doesn't have to be this long drawn out process of like, okay, I'm going to go on a retreat, on a silent retreat for 20 years and then come back and I'm ready to do it. Like, no, it can be a minute. Like you can take a minute and just, even if you need to write down, like, I am so grateful that this, and this happened in my life before. And like, watch your shift in your energy and in your mood, just like elevate, and then go take action from that place. Take action from this inspired place of like interest and appeal. And if there's interest and you're interested in it and you can't stop thinking about it, and then there's the appeal of like, well, I could turn this into a 6-figure, multiple 6-figure, 7-figure business. Well, that's the appeal, right? So when there's those things and you can't stop thinking about it, like that's where that imposter syndrome, you like have to give in to the interest and appeal and flip the switch instead of the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And that's a daily practice for a lot of people. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm perfect and that those thoughts never pop up, right? Like, but I've trained myself enough at this point, having tried different ventures, to be like, you know what? I'm going to take a beat, take a moment, flip that switch, and then I'm going to go do the thing.
Mm. Yeah. And you also have, which again, you wrote in your questionnaire and you were really thorough. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, when we invite somebody onto the show, we just ask them a few questions. And sometimes people write a few words and sometimes they write a few more than a few words. And one of the things that you said, which stood out to me, I thought was cool, was things that you were excited to talk to me about on the show, mindset in the social media game in 2023, getting over the fear of imposter syndrome and what I call wow Tom syndrome. Talk to us about what that is.
So wow Tom syndrome. So wow Tom syndrome is what other people think of me, or what I've coined as the wow Tom syndrome, right? Like, what other people are going to think of me when I show up, what other people are going to think of me when I decide to start an affiliate marketing business, or what other people are going to think of me even if I invest in myself, right, to learn affiliate marketing, digital marketing, and maybe I don't do the affiliate marketing piece, but what are other people going to think of me? Like, there's so many different layers of like, you just start thinking of all these things of like other people. Who cares? Like, that's the other person. What do you think? What do you want to do? Right? Like, I invested in the $7 and then invested in the blueprints. And some people were like, oh my gosh, what is your husband going to think? And like, then there's the other people that come in and it's not even you just thinking of what other people are going to say. They try to put their opinions on you. Right? And I was like, my husband is going to think what he's going to think. I am my own person and we live in alignment with that. And so I'm going to have a conversation with him, but I'm also going to do the thing. And as long as I have that conviction and that confidence going into it, and this is the same whether you're having a conversation with your husband or whether you're showing up on social media, it's having that confidence and conviction in yourself, even if it's just for a moment, right? And I always say this, like, even if I just need to like pretend like I'm in the store trying on a new outfit, or I just got a new outfit ordered online and it came in and I'm trying it on. I'm trying on a belief for a moment. I'm trying on a belief like it's a stinking outfit I'm putting on for the day. And I'm trying that on for a moment to say, do I like this or do I not like it? Could I vibe with this for the day and just try on that outfit for the day and take this belief and this confidence and this conviction with me just for the day, just for a moment, and let that carry me through rather than trying on the outfit of like all these stinking beliefs of like wow Tom syndrome. Like, there's such a difference and such a shift that can happen in that. Even as I'm like saying that, I'm like getting so many, like, I'm just like fired up.
I'm fired up too. I'm ready to throw this damn hat across the room. I mean, really, that is a powerful, powerful thought about trying on a belief like an outfit. So often do we switch in and out of clothes, switch in and out of cars, switch in and out of just, physical, tangible situations and things, but we don't stop to consider how easy it would be, and it is, to switch in and out of beliefs. And it's sort of like being belief agnostic, to where you really just, and think about this for a second, how much more peaceful our world would be if we all weren't so stuck in our ways if we would even just say, hey, I believe what I believe, but I'm open to hearing what you believe. Maybe I could learn something, not particularly saying that I'm going to change my belief, but I'd love to try it on for a second. I'd love to try it on for a day. I'd love to try it on for an hour and just conversate with you. Not that I'm looking for you to enroll me into it. I just want to learn about you and learn about what you believe. And if it's just such a wonderful, fun way to live life, because it's sort of like living vicariously through people, and you might just, with that mindset, you know, you might just learn something. You might just have your life changed. You might just discover something that is something that you choose to take with you. I think so often we think about religion, or we think about heavy stuff like that. But even that, I mean, just trying on what somebody else believes for a moment, just to try to see what is it like to walk in their shoes for a day. But particularly if I'm somebody who's grown up around limiting beliefs around money, and I've grown up around people who, um, you know, almost look at people who have money like they're evil, right? Just to try on the beliefs of what it's like to be rich and wealthy, and some of the judgment that might come. And I know people who are extremely successful, even a few at the mastermind this weekend, who, success brings a new form of challenges, such as people potentially thinking that people think that you just got there because you were lucky, right? And discount all your hard work. So each situation, whether you're rich, poor, whether you're, this or that, comes with its own unique set of challenges and potential. What will other people think? Wow, Tom, what will other people think of me? Sort of scenarios. And I love that trying on a belief or a mindset like it's an outfit, knowing that you can take it off, knowing that your misery can be fully refunded to you at any time, right? Your misery is fully refundable. The way of life, the way of thinking that got you exactly where you're at right now is absolutely refundable to you, to continue to take that home and live within that space, if that's what you choose. But we really only grow when we become, as I learned in recovery, honest, open-minded, and willing. Honest, open-minded, and willing. And without those, as a matter of fact, in recovery rooms, they say there are many principles, but there are three that are indispensable. Indispensable. I mean, when I first came into, I had to, get my dictionary out. What the hell does indispensable mean? But indispensable: honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. Being honest with ourselves about where we're at, what our strengths, what our weaknesses are, knowing our limitations. Open-minded to new ideas. That's the whole key. Got to be open-minded. Got to be open-minded to hearing new ideas. Got to be open-minded to hearing other people's beliefs. Got to be open-minded to even building our self-esteem because somebody else believes in me, even though I don't believe in myself. Let me be open-minded to what you think of me, because I don't think very highly of me. And then willing to actually try something new. Try something new. So often we are caught up in our just routines and habits. And they say, and they don't say this for no reason, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, right? It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And I mean, an old dog can be even a 30-year-old person, even a 25-year-old person who's been doing something the same way for more than damn 90 days or so. 30 to 90 days, you've developed a dadgum habit. And that's your old way. And then somebody comes along and says, well, hey, you ever tried this? And it's very difficult to get my feet out of the mud, and actually try something new. And that's why we revert back to our old habits and patterns. so often. What other limiting beliefs have you had to overcome, even with all your experience and even doing life coaching and etc.? Was it when it came time to do video? What has been hard for you?
I would say, the limiting beliefs and the different things that have been hard for me and what I've experienced is like, and I was like kind of laughing, tearing as you were talking, because some of the things I was like, yeah, you're just hitting them on the head. Um, but what has been hard and like the different limiting beliefs that come up, it's just like, I mean, one that came up was definitely, and it's funny because when you're in this married dynamic, it's like, it's not even what other people will think of me, is what will my husband think of me, right? And it's crazy that we have those thoughts and those limitations. And like you said, it comes from like years and years and years of like being around other people and the conditioning and things that we were taught when we were growing up and just the environments that we were in. And, as cliche as it sounds, right? Like there's quotes everywhere that are like, the only way to change something is to like change it, right? Is to go do the thing and do something different, do something that you're not used to, and put yourself in that uncomfortable situation for 30, 60, 90 days, and then see how you feel after 30, 60, 90 days, right? Because then it becomes a habit and it becomes easier, like you said. But like, I had that thought, and I remember like thinking that when I was getting started in this, and I brought it up to my husband probably later than I probably should have, but he was just like, what? Like, I'm your biggest supporter. Like, yeah, I think you're crazy sometimes, but like, I'm always going to support you. I always believe in what you're doing when you believe in it too.
Mm.
And that's the key, right? He said, when you believe in it too. So it was like, I had to just get out of that thought of like, what is he going to think of me? It was like, okay, what am I thinking of myself that he will think of me? And like, then kind of dissecting that and breaking that down to be like, oh, okay, like I'm just, for some reason, having this limitation, this limiting belief of like, could I actually do this? Am I actually good enough? Will I actually succeed? Right? Like all these just limiting beliefs that pop up of like, well, you tried this thing or did this thing and it didn't work out. And then it's kind of back to what I said earlier of like, okay, but what else did I do that did work out? And what can I use as like what I like to call an evidence procedure of what worked in the past, whether it was accolades, money, even just like compliments, right? Like I've gotten compliments from people where like they've always told me I have this like confidence when I'm speaking, or I have this confidence when I'm on video. And that's not something that I ever was ever taught or learned. It was like a skill that I developed over time of having to put myself out there when I was so uncomfortable doing it. And so I wrote all those down, thought of all those things of like, what's my evidence procedure? What have I been good at or told I've been good at in the past? What have I actually succeeded at in the past? Big, small, tangible, intangible. And then like took those evidence procedures and like, again, it's kind of like that outfit, trying it on again. Like whenever those limiting beliefs come up of like, okay, well, I'm going to go take that evidence procedure outfit, put that on for a moment instead of like, hey, I have this limiting belief popping up telling me that for some reason I'm not good enough or I won't succeed or, because of the environment I grew up in, it's not possible. And like people a lot of times, and I've been told this throughout my life, and it's definitely, it's not, I don't even want to say it's a limiting belief that comes up. It's just a saying that comes up sometimes that I have to remind myself of to not get lost in it or get to dwelling in it is like throughout college, throughout, even like high school and different times in my life, people have always thought that I was from a more affluent family because of the way I carried myself. And that was not true at all. Like I grew up in a household of 9 kids, living very paycheck to paycheck, pretty much a single parent income the whole time. And that was rough, right? Like there are times in my life where I look back on and I'm like, holy heck, I don't even know how we survived. And so like when I had these thoughts of like people are like, oh, well, she's just, lucky. That's just where she comes from. She comes from money, like all this stuff. Like I didn't. I've worked for it. Like I've done the uncomfortable things and I've gotten out of my own way time and time again. And it's not a one and done kind of thing. I am constantly getting out of my own way and constantly remembering to like not give in to those limiting beliefs, no matter what they are, how big or how small they are, and just almost like doing the thing anyway. Like whatever Nike's phrase is of like, just do it, right? Like you're not going to know until you try, and you're not going to know what the experience is like for you until you try. And there have been things that I've tried and I'm like, that's not for me, right? Like you can try it and decide whether or not it's for you. And that's okay too. Like the only person judging you at the end of the day is really yourself. You are the hardest critic and the harshest to yourself. So like when I've had these things said to me, when like people say like they thought I was from an affluent family or like those types of things, there were like these beliefs that came up of like, okay, do they think I'm a snob? Do you think I'm like stuck up? Then like, of course, all these different limiting beliefs that I'd never even had before started streaming in and coming through. And it's just like, you have to remember that like, they didn't say those things. You're saying those things to yourself. And even when there are, right, internet trolls out there, because when you get on social media and you're playing this social media game, as I like to call it, there's going to be internet trolls, right? And you can either give in to them or you can just delete their energy. Like, just get rid of it like you would get rid of a piece of paper that you're throwing in the trash. Like, it's just those little tiny nuances and, excuse me, shifts that you can make in your mindset when you're going through these things. So that's kind of like limiting beliefs that have come up in different scenarios and that try to come back up. Like I always tell people, it's not necessarily a new limiting belief. It's probably an old belief trying to come up in a different way, in a different situation, like especially when you're putting yourself out there on social media for the first time, right? Like I sometimes have to remember like there are people who have never made a reel, who have never made a post, and that's okay. Like when I came into this, I wasn't really that versed in reels. Like when I started doing Legendary, reels were not my thing. And now I grew from a couple of followers, right? Like started at 0 to then almost 40,000 as of today when I looked in maybe 2 months time. I don't even think it's hit the 2-month mark, which is mind blowing. So I had to like teach myself and go through the strategies inside of the blueprints and inside of Legendary to be like, okay, what can I do? What can I look at? And how can I look at social media differently this time? What can I do differently? Right. So like I might have had different skill sets in the past coming from the different ventures and side hustles and businesses I've tried, but this was a completely new ball game. Like this is something I haven't done before. So I let myself come into it with this beginner mentality of like, I don't know anything because I didn't. And there's still so much I'm learning. So it's like, I had to go into it doing that. And I think with social media, I know you asked like, what have I learned? I think it comes down to finding like I don't want to say alter ego, but like alter ego version of yourself to show up on if you need to, right? Like if you need that extra boost of confidence, show up and be confident. And like that was my biggest tip to people is like, right now we live in a day and age where people don't want to watch a video where you're just like, yeah, you know, like, hi guys, hey, what's up? Like they just don't. That you're gonna get scrolled right past.
I wish it wasn't true, but it is.
I mean, it's sad, right? So
it is what it is. It's people want confidence. They're looking for leadership.
Yeah. And like that again, it's that outfit, right? Like you might have to try on that outfit until you're used to it, until it actually is you. And like I don't want to get misconstrued or misunderstood when I say trying on an outfit. Like you're not necessarily faking it till you make it kind of thing. It's okay, maybe there's this person that I'm inspired by or I look up to and they've had the success, right? Success leaves clues. So maybe trying on the outfit of like, hey, this is my Corin outfit for the day, right? I'm going to go and try that on so that way I can like try to exude this confidence that she has when she shows up on social media and then carry that through. And I say, do that as much times as you need until your authentic confidence comes out, because then it's going to be unmatched and nobody's going to recognize you because it's truly going to be you and you'll be able to tell. So like it might feel a little uncomfortable at first, right? Putting yourself out there on social media, making a post. And like, I say this all with like, you don't actually ever have to show your face if you don't want to. You can do it faceless. There's so many examples of that these days. But if you are showing your face or you're showing your personality, like, try on an outfit of somebody who inspires you until it becomes your authentic self and that shines through. And I think that's the biggest piece that I've learned in all of this, especially coming at it and doing reels, which was like a new thing for me. You come on and you find your style. You find what's going to work for you, and like be willing to experiment, be willing to test things out and have fun with it. And like when I was going through and looking at the strategies inside of Legendary, I was like, okay, how can I put my own spin on this, and how can I do it in a way where it feels like me, right? And also be willing to experiment and test with it and have fun with it and just literally have fun with it.
Yeah.
Because that is literally what I have done in the past 2 months. If somebody wanted to know my strategy and my mindset going into social media.
Yeah, and here we are. That's beautiful, incredibly well said. And here we are talking about mindset, and I don't even share this particular comment that was said to publicly shame you, although you're publicly shaming us, Raina. But if you don't have 2K to spend, they drop you like it's hot. First of all, it's not 2K, it's $7 for our appetizer, and then it's 2,500. So it's actually not 2K, it's 2,500 for our blueprints program, which is so much better than 1,000 different little tiny upsells and nickel and dimes here and there. And there's always something else to learn. We shove all of our best curriculum into our higher ticket course, which is exactly what we teach inside of our challenge for $7, which you could literally take, and many have taken just the curriculum and knowledge in the challenge and turn it into a full-fledged business. But comments like this are said as you're consuming and sitting here listening to free value that we're spending our time on, with 830 episodes that are free, that you could be consuming, that you could be listening to, that you could be learning from. 830 interviews just like this one, where knowledge is being poured into you, absolutely free. And my hope is that you'll listen to the very things that we're talking about right now, which is your mindset. And you'll realize that it's really not us that's dropping you like you're hot. It's you. It's you that's dropping you like you're hot. It's you that's speaking your own lack of success into existence by kind of spreading this type of negativity and sort of speaking what, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's playing the victim. It's acting like we're treating you differently than everybody else who comes through. We're a business. We sell education, we sell information, and we're trying to teach you how to do it too, if you'd be open to it. Simultaneously, as that comment was made, there was this unbelievably powerful concept of be the person we wish we were in our own heads. We absolutely do limit ourselves until we learn not to. And what a powerful contrast from one comment to the next. And again, Raina, I hope that you stick around and continue to listen, because we all have a lot to learn. You, me, right? And there's always shifts that we can make in our mindset to help us to see that we're really not a victim, but we can turn every situation into a victory if you embrace all of the abundance that's around you. And if anybody doesn't have the money, start with our challenge. Start with the 830 free interviews of all our most successful students that we publish live, my friends, and take ownership of your future. Take responsibility for your life, and get out of a victim mindset, and get out of the mindset that you're entitled to anything. Because not only are we really not entitled to something in our jobs, but we're certainly not entitled to anything in entrepreneurship. And those who think that they are entitled to something in entrepreneurship are those who run very unsuccessful businesses. Because entrepreneurship is not about what people owe you, it's how you can serve people. And that goes both in the communities where you're learning, and this is a microcosm of society right here, Legendary. So all the victims and people who have that mentality are going to stay on the bottom, right? You're going to stay in that learned helplessness, and all those who develop a heart of service and want to make, see the glass half full and find opportunities even to help other people in this community are the ones who are going to rise to the top. But I love what Sherry said, because you're talking about this and I talked about this. And again, such a powerful contrast from victim to victor. Be the person we wish we were in our own heads. I don't think anybody lays there in the morning and says, I'm going to get up and, I'm going to go around and see, how negative I can be. I'm going to see how big of a loser I can be today. No, we dream about crushing situations. We dream about walking into situations and owning them. We dream about walking up to the girl in the dance and asking her and having a fantastic time, or the guy in the, whatever the situation is, however ladies think, which us fellas are still trying to figure out. We dream of and visualize oftentimes, or think about, we don't even visualize it, right? We just sort of fantasize. I think that's a better word. We fantasize as if it's this long sort of must be nice or wish I could, or worst off. And this is, I think, most often what we do. We look at other people and we say, wow, I could never do that, or must be nice to be able to have that sort of confidence. When the truth of the matter is that person that you're watching that seems like they're crushing it actually is dealing with their own forces of anxiety. May have just crawled out of their own hole of depression, may have just recorded that video 15 or 20 times before they posted it. And you only see the glory, but don't see the story, right? So instead, beginning to visualize and really get clear on the person who we would like to be, the superhero version of ourselves. And I want to tie this back to what you were talking about just a moment ago, which is sort of getting on camera as like our alter ego. I do not go and talk to my kids the same way, throwing my damn hat, ranting and raving and all this different kind of stuff. I am not that person all the time in real life. Surely I can get excited. Surely I can rant and rave. But when I get on video, it's sort of this alter ego. It's sort of this again, superhero human version of myself that is completely safe to be, because I'm, first of all, I'm on screen, I'm on camera. Nobody can get to me. Nobody can hurt me. I can't even really hear people's, I can read them, but I don't have to as I'm performing and doing my video. I get an opportunity to play a little bit. I get an opportunity to, to dream a little bit. I get an opportunity to act and perform a little bit. And that doesn't mean that I'm being fake. It means that I'm being creative. It means that just like lights, camera, action, you're stepping into the role of a character. And that's not, Hobbit or Harry Potter, or we're not talking about those type of characters. We're talking about the character of the best version of yourself. And I love that you said that. And it ties so wonderfully into Sherry's comment. And I think so many of us get on camera and shrink. We shrink. And I think that also ties into a comment that you made about, and has been made about, hiding things from our spouses and stuff like that. I think so often when we start our business and we want to be these powerful entrepreneurs, we shrink. Mm-hmm. And I think we have to get bigger. I think in order to get bigger, we have to own what we're doing. I think we have to face the people in our lives that we need to face. And that doesn't mean that we need to go to our spouses and say, hey, it's my way or the highway, and I'm doing this, and make it this big black and white thing. It's just, I am being called, honey. I am being called for something more. I am being called for something. I am being called to develop my identity more than being a stay-at-home mom, or more than being a guy with a 9-to-5. I am being called. I'm being moved. I don't know where it comes from. I'm just being moved for more. I don't know what the end result looks like, but I want to go on a journey of stepping into a better version of myself. And here's the cool thing. I want to be an entrepreneur, and you are the forefront of all my motivation. Because if I'm able to be successful with this, you, me, our kids, our family are going to reap the rewards of this. And so here's the second part of that, saying what we need. This is also a part of not shrinking, but becoming bigger, owning our space in our home as well as on the internet. I need your support. You're enrolling them the best way to enroll people into your vision is to ask for their help, not to tell them what to do, not to be confrontational, but to say, I need you. I need your help in this. You're the most important person in my life. Your love means everything to me. Your support means everything. Your words are more powerful than you think. For those of you who are women, saying that to your man, your words are powerful. Whew, that's validating for a man. That makes a man feel like a man. Your words are powerful, honey. Your actions are powerful. Your eye rolls are powerful. Your smile is powerful. Your touch, your hugs, you telling me that you believe in me is powerful. I need that. Now, you women can tell us men what you need, right? Just like, vice versa, right? The men can tell the women what we need, right? Hey, honey, I need your nurturing right now. You're such a compassionate, nurturing person. I need your love and your support right now. I also need to know how I can make you feel loved and supported as I'm doing something new. But see, speaking up for our needs and what we need as we embark on this journey and enrolling them into our vision is all how we don't shrink, but instead own our space. And this allows us, as we're filming videos, to not have to go and hide like a crackhead. You know what I mean? I can say that as a former recovering drug addict. We're not smoking crack, friends. Okay? We don't have to go and hide and be like, it's not like that. Some of us run around with our little crack pipes here and we're like, oh, let me go in the car real quick. It's not, you're doing something beautiful. You're doing something powerful. And although it may be a little bit awkward and weird to record in front of your spouses, and that's fine, even if you do enroll them and not shrink and get small, but ask for your needs and enroll their support and all that, doesn't mean that you're automatically going to feel comfortable filming in front of them. That can be sometimes the most uncomfortable thing to do is film in front of your family. But it will give you the confidence to say, I'm going to go in our office. I'm going to go in the bedroom and film for a little while. Hey, why don't you go to a ball game? Hey, why don't you run to the grocery store? Hey, why don't you take the dog on a walk? Hey, will you play with the kids for an hour? It allows us to ask for the things that we need rather than hiding and shrinking. And wow, that can be the first step. And that can even be something that, as Sherry says, be the person we wish we were in our own heads. Don't so many of us wish we were that in our homes? Don't you wish you had the respect of your spouse more so than you do? Is all you have to do is begin to act as if the person who has their respect by practicing some of these simple things that we're talking about right now. Corinne, what comes up for you as I talk about not shrinking, but instead owning your space?
Yeah, I think it also ties back really well to what you had said earlier about, honesty, right? The first person we really need to be honest with is ourselves. Is like, are you, and I don't want to say settling, right? But are you shrinking to make someone else comfortable? Are you shrinking, and that's like a people pleaser kind of habit, but it's like, are you shrinking and deciding that this is the path I want when really it's not, right? How can you be honest with yourself to then be honest with somebody else, right? To be honest with your spouse, to be honest with your family, to say like, hey, this is what I want and this is the path I'm going in, and it may or may not work out, and that's fine, but I would love your support. right?
Yeah.
And when we do that, it's like you relieve so much pressure from yourself, because the pressure comes from all this internal anxiety and these internal conflicts and battles that we're having in our minds of like just all the different ways it could or couldn't work out. But more often than not, it's the couldn't, like, how could this possibly be true? And it's like you're waiting for that other shoe to drop all the time. And so, of course, if we've been taught that and we've been conditioned with that type of mentality, of course, shrinking yourself is the easy way to go, right? And I say easy because we're used to it. And so we always tend to go towards the easy route of the things that we're used to rather than the things that may seem hard, but it's usually because we've never done it before, or it's just brand new information to us. And so that's the same thing with investing in yourself. That's the same thing with starting a side hustle or an online business. It's the same thing with getting on social media. It's the same thing with restarting a social media or doing a different type of business. Like, you have to just take that energy and that motion and put it into that and realize, like, hey, this is new information. This is something new. And the more you can, and this isn't going to be the same for everybody, but the more you can have fun with it or experiment with it is going to be the best option, the best solution. And that's, you can do the same thing too. Like, you can test what you're saying and what you're asking for and your needs to your spouse or to your family. Like, test different ways to communicate with them to see what's going to land, to see what's going to stick, right? Maybe you say something one way one day and it doesn't exactly resonate, but you say it the next day and it's a completely different outcome. So I just think of that with everything you were saying. And also what else I think of is like people thinking like that, you know, we're going to drop it like it's hot, or that you get dropped like it's hot. And kind of to your point where you said you're dropping yourself, it's so true. Like, we give up on ourselves way before other people give up on us. We give up on ourselves way before our spouses give up on us. Like, you have to just, it's like a baby when they like first learn how to crawl or to walk or to sit up, right? Like, they get up more times than you can count. Even when they hurt themselves, even when they fall over, like, they're just so determined and have this like curiosity and inspiration and this just like almost innocence of like, hey, you know what? Let's just give it a go again. Let's see how it works. And it's the same thing when it comes to starting a side hustle, investing in yourself, and getting on social media. It's like having this like curiosity, this almost like innocence of just like, it's new, it's exciting, it's an adventure. And when you look at it like that, it becomes so much easier. When you block out the noise, when you have tunnel vision, when you put on those rose colored glasses for a moment, right? To say like, you know what, this is going to look beautiful. It's going to look amazing. And I might laugh at myself later on for the first couple of tries that I had, but that's okay. Like, learning to like laugh at yourself, learning to just roll with the punches, for, you know, lack of a better cliche phrase, but like just learning to get through that and learning to grow and shift and develop these skill sets. And like talking to your spouse and learning to ask for what you want and what you need, that is also a skill set, right? It's a skill set that you get to develop within yourself first. Like, nobody can just like hand you that on a silver platter and say, here you go. You can ask me what I said to my spouse, you can ask me all the things, but it's going to come from you, and that's what's going to matter. So it's the same thing when people ask me like, hey, did you get the $7 course? Hey, did you invest in the blueprints, right? Like, they're asking me for all my opinions. And at the end of the day, I cannot, I'm not a future teller, right? Like, I cannot tell you how that's going to shape or look for you, but I can tell you what's happened for me. And I can tell you what I've done in the past and what I wish I would have done sooner, which was legendary marketer, right? And I can tell you how it's worked out for me in more ways than one. And my success right out of the gate and my success long term may look different than yours. Yours could be better than mine. And that's incredible. And when I say like not shrinking ourselves, and you said something about serving other people, when I came into this, one of my biggest thoughts was, holy heck, I can impact people on an even deeper level now. I can help people on a journey and on a path that they probably didn't even know existed. And like, I'm not the only person that gets to win. They can come along and win too. They could win better than me. They could 10x me. And that to me is just like so incredible. And like, I'm getting a little emotional and teary just thinking about it, but like, that to me like really aside from my personal why, that's like another deeper why of like, I get to help other women. I get to help other wives. I get to help other people who are, you know, trying to build a family, who are trying to save for a home, who are doing all these things. And I say this because I'm a normal person, right? Like I have normal everyday limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome, things that pop up. And outside of that, I also have normal everyday life things that come up, right? Like I said, I was moving and I moved across country and I have a job and I'm doing all these things. All those things are happening simultaneously to me doing this stuff, to me putting myself out there online, to me running my side hustle. And people sometimes think, like you said, it's like they think it's just those perfect moments that we see. It's just that it's always perfect. It's not always perfect, right? Like I have stuff that happens, like maintenance things that have to happen. And those happen usually at the worst times. And you're like, oh, gosh dang it, why is this happening right now? But you have to really just like sit with yourself, and whether it's your spouse or whatever, like you and that person, you and your family, whoever it is, be your biggest cheerleaders and just take action and do the thing. Like I've never been in a perfect situation. I've never been in a perfect timing. I've never been like, there are so many times in my life where I did not have the quote unquote money to invest in the thing. But when we're growing and we're developing and we're building a business, it's mind-blowing to me that like people think it's so normal and so normalized to go out and spend money on a resume, to go out and spend money on getting career coaching or getting support in interviewing, right? And they'll spend money on those things, and then they'll go get a 9 to 5, and then they'll have that steady paycheck. That's one of the biggest, I don't even want to say like scams, but that's one of the biggest normalized things in society, that is the safety net. Why would you not create your own safety net? And that starts with your internal self first. Creating that safety net of like, you know what? I'm going to try this outfit on today. We're going to give it a go.
Yeah. Powerful. Man, mamma mia. Oh, my Lord. It has been an episode to remember, my friends. All of these are just wonderful, simple, practical concepts that we can all try on and see how they feel. And I would encourage everybody to do just that. Corin, this has been wonderful, powerful. Thank you so much. I'm just excited to have you on, as you were to come on, as you said in your questionnaire. And I'd love to have you back and continue this powerful conversation. With that being said, my friend, stay legendary, keep up the great work. Thank you for taking the time today to share your wisdom and your experience with all of us. And please come back and see me again on the show in the near future. Okay.
Will do. Thank you, Dave.
All right, Corin, talk to you soon. All right, my friends, you can follow Corin over on Instagram at youronlinemoneymakingbff.Corin, and that's spelled Corin. You can also find her at her other profile on Instagram, Hustle with Corin. She's also over on TikTok, and you can find her at Your Online Money Making BFF over on TikTok. Such a powerful episode, so many simple, practical concepts, so much interesting conversation that's happening also in our chat. And, you know, we love all of the different concepts, the thoughts, the comments that you all have. It doesn't have to all be positive. You know, some of us are coming into this and sort of learning about ourselves. We're exploring the world in new and different ways. We're getting outside of the 9 to 5 thinking, the corporate America, where there is a certain, you know, you're not really expected to think a whole lot. You know, you're expected to follow the standard operating procedures. You're expected to follow the processes, and your ideas and your thinking and all that is not really the primary thing that you're getting paid for. So as you're coming on here to inside of our community, we're asking you to think for yourself. We're asking you to critically think about what to do, how to figure things out, how to take our concepts and test them, not look for absolutes, but test them. And we're also asking you to look in the mirror and ask yourself, be honest, be open-minded, be willing to change, to just to embrace new ideas. And many of you are wrestling with those. You're it's new stuff. It's uncomfortable. We get that. This process is uncomfortable. It's not for the average. It's not for the weak. It's for the people who are looking to be stretched a little bit. Similar to those who want to go to the gym, you're going to have to not just buy the membership, but show up and use the damn dumbbells. And when you leave, you're going to be sore. You're going to say, "Ooh, I don't know if does this feel good? Is this a good sore or a bad sore?" Right? And I can assure you, my friends, that it really is a good sore. There's nothing like stretching out and rolling out some of those muscles after you've exercised them for a good session. And then all of a sudden you start to build muscle. You start to become stronger. You start to own your space. You're not hiding on the treadmills anymore. You're walking around the dumbbell and the bench press racks like you own the place. That's the process. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen for most people faster than you think. You develop the confidence to really start to own your space instead of always shrinking, mostly because of your own beliefs, right? It's not even always because somebody said something to us. Corinne had a lot of simple, practical strategies today that all of us can listen or re-listen to and use. And my friends, don't forget there is a wonderful 15-day challenge you can take for $7. There's the blueprints you can enroll to that will give you a master's level or above education in marketing, education in selling information and packaging ideas and thoughts or selling somebody else's. And of course, we have literally 830 of these episodes you can listen into and learn from people and see the practical application of people using these concepts and strategies that are free of charge. So soak up all this information. It's the curriculum. We even have workshops going on, such as Decade in a Day right now. And then here on Wake Up Legendary, we have so many examples, hundreds and hundreds of the practical application of what that stuff looks like when it's actually being done, plus the mindset training and the honest dialogue about what it feels like as you're going through it, so you know that you're not alone as you run into various challenges and mindset hurdles. Because all you got to do is just give yourself an opportunity, not give us a chance. I mean, you're not validating us. We've already been validated, but give yourself a chance to succeed, a chance to grow, a chance to do something new. You're worth it, man. You're worth it. And if it's not here, somewhere else. I mean, I say this every day, darn near. If you don't learn these strategies and concepts, particularly these digital marketing skills in 2023, learn them somewhere, please, because you're going to need them. The world's not going backwards, my friends. We're not going backwards. We're only going forwards. More of this, more internet, more social media, more work from home stuff. We're not going backwards. So do yourself the service, not the disservice, of learning these skills and strategies. You're worth it. You can do it. You still got it. And you're going to prove that to yourselves right here, right now, by following through with your commitments. So my friends, we'll see you back here on Monday for another episode. We'll be here as we always are 5 days a week at 10 a.m. Eastern time, right here on this Facebook page. And you can always listen to the audio replays on any of the major podcast platforms, Apple, all that. So just type in Wake Up Legendary and you'll find us. You can also get a simple, gentle, little text message reminder when we go live by texting WUL to 813-296-8553. Again, texting WUL to 813-296-8553. Take care, my friends. Love you all. Thank you for all of the interaction, all of the comments, no matter what they are, especially the validation for both myself, but also Corinne and our guest. It's so appreciated to give them some positive affirmations and validation for coming on here and spending their time sharing their wisdom and experience. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you back here on Monday for another episode. Get out of here. Love you. Peace.